Cookies, how's life? I just got done watching a YouTube channel. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, dude. A lot of people are really mad at me. Actually, it's really funny. I don't really care. I'm gonna have the same opinion regardless if people get mad at me or not. But a lot of people are really mad. Well, people don't like my take on Russia, Ukraine. They don't like it at all. Farm them for content. Hassan gets banned. We put his media trends copy. Well, I mean, I have to grift into the space, right? Orianus, obviously. There's a market gap now. I have to slide into that, right? Obviously. I need to look in the mirror and rethink the entire life if they do get mad. Thank you for the bits, Vic. Thank you, Yoshi, for the bits as well. Thank you. Well, people are. It's understandable. Here's the thing that I've learned, guys. The thing that I've learned is that, and this is just something that you really have to think about, is that this shit with like the news, and okay, do you know how like sometimes we look at stuff that happens in the news and we're like, how do I explain it? And you think about it and you're like, this sounds like super propaganda, right? And then there'll be like a bunch of people that like they buy into it. Oh, like, for instance, like the laptop, how like the laptop was like Russian disinformation, right? The Hunter Biden laptop. And you see like a lot of people, they hear that on the news and then everyone just repeats the same thing that was off of the news. Yeah. That thing. And you know how like some of us would look at that and be like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, this guy is a crackhead. This guy's a crackhead. He like lost it. He lost his gun. He left his freaking laptop at a shop and like he just forgot to pick it up. Like this guy's an absolute crackhead, right? And like cocaine in the White House, like all of that shit, right? And you look at that and you're like, dude, there's no fucking way. Like this is there's no way. This is bullshit, right? And then you have a bunch of people that are like saying like, no, it's not real. It's not real. It's propaganda, right? And we would be like, no, that's not. It's fucking obviously true, right? Now you have to understand that that's not. This is like a thing like I don't want people to get complacent about. That doesn't only happen on one side. And I know like as much as we want to pretend. And we want to pretend like we're fucking immune to that shit. It's not true. Like, it's not true. Like, people on the left, on the right, whatever you want to call it, everyone is susceptible to this sort of a thing. But Julie says everyone is vulnerable to propaganda except me. No, everybody is. I didn't say except me. I just said that you have to be like more aware of it, right? Do you think that only the other side does propaganda? That's crazy if you actually think that. If you think that only leftists engage in propaganda, like that's just not true. Like everyone engages in propaganda. That's like the state of the world, right? So, is what you're listening to Russian propaganda? Is it Ukrainian propaganda? Is it leftist propaganda, right-wing propaganda? There's propaganda everywhere. You're not immune to propaganda. Yeah, all you could do is be aware of it, right? Leftist propaganda just stands out more to us at the moment. What if we purposely watch more? Again, it's like I said, like what can you know to be true? It's things that everybody. It's things that even opposing people. It's facts that opposing people agree on, even if they agree on the fact in a different. If they have a different conclusion from the fact, but if they agree that the fact occurred, then you can more or less understand that that's probably true. And the only other thing you can trust is motives. Like you can kind of try to see like what is the motive from a certain person, a certain country. Like what are their motives behind it, right? That's the only thing. Like, does it line up with their other motives? Does it line up with their own self-interests? These kinds of things you could probably somewhat decipher at least a partial truth from that, right? I don't know. I'm just the type of person I just like to see. I like to see it from both sides, and I don't know. Maybe that's a flaw. I don't know. That's just how I am. I like to see a certain situation from multiple angles, and even sometimes a really crazy angle because maybe the conspiracy theory is true because it's been true many times. So I don't know. Dragon Star says was gonna post my clip on YouTube, but the Russian anthem is copyrighted. Yeah, isn't that fucking hilarious, guys? The Russian anthem is the USSR anthem is copyrighted, which is, if that doesn't show that if that doesn't show that capitalism won that one, I don't know what does. That's fucking crazy, actually. Yeah. Well, freaking Alex Jones on the frogs. Okay. Well, the thing is I mean, like, even on the frogs being gay thing, he's not actually like wrong. Like, I mean, sure, was it a hyperbole? Was it hyperbole? Like, was he being like over exaggerated about the situation? Yes, but then is what he's saying like in total wrong? It's not. It's more satisfying to come to a conclusion after hearing both sides too. It's like a home cooked meal rather than fast food. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, sometimes I'll hear drama from people. Like, okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay, and I'm going to like really hide the details of the story because I can't tell you the full details of the story because there are real people involved in the story, and it's not my place to yeah, so I'm going to like change a lot of the details of the story, but the general gist of it is true. So there was a story, there was this thing that happened a while ago, and there was this girl. The girl had a falling out with a boy, and she cried about it, and she talked about how the guy was a creep, was super fucking mean, and all sorts of things about him. And everyone believed her, right? She cried about it, everyone believed her. But I knew the actual story. And the actual truth was not even close to like what actually happened. And the reason I know it's true is because I saw receipts for everything. You know, I heard phone calls. I saw text messages. I saw the whole thing. And it's not even close to what happened. And it's actually like super vile what the girl did to that guy. And nobody even knows that part of the story. The point of what I'm trying to say is that even in these conflicts where you immediately want to take like a specific side because that's the natural inclination of emotion, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the actual truth of what happened. What I'm trying to say is that there's always multiple sides to a story, and it's not always clear cut what's right or wrong. This is why, by the way, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I know video games a lot. I know a lot about video games. I know a lot about kind of internet culture stuff. Like when it comes to like woke internet culture stuff, I know a lot about that because I've been around for a while on the internets. But geopolitics is very hard because the truth is not always apparent. Right, it's hard to tell. There's always like there's always multiple sides on it. Everybody has their own facts. It's really hard to tell who's right or who's wrong. And the only way, the funny thing is, historically, the people who are right are just the people who won. I reserve judgment in almost every case, says Welder Zach. Yep. Isabel says, are we talking about Ukraine? Kind of. I was just talking about like. Wasn't necessarily talking about Ukraine. I was just talking about things in general. You disagree, Quebec? You disagree with what? What do you disagree with? With people who win being right? Well, people who win are the ones who set history, Quebec. Typically. That's usually how it goes. I didn't make the rules. That's just how it is, Quebec. I didn't mean, by the way, morally right. Sorry, I didn't mean morally right. Factually right. But history tends to show the side of whoever won. Obviously, that's what I'm talking about. Obviously, it's not like that everyone who wins is morally right. Obviously, that's not the case. You still disagree? I mean, you can disagree with history, I guess. What a coincidence that all of the people who won wars were the good guys, says Norm MacDonald. Yeah, exactly. The victor's the king and the loser's a thief. Mm-hmm. A thief and a whore, right, doll? When have you ever heard of the Drevlians doing good? Never. Because Olga of Kiev exterminated all of them in revenge for killing her husband and trying to steal her son's birthright. Yeah, I mean, that's history in a nutshell. And I'm sure the same thing will happen in like 200 years later. Whoever won the war is going to be the good guys historically. Delta Cross says I only disagree in that there's more than just the victors rewriting history. Well, yeah, it's another battle, right? You have another battle in the future. It's kind of like right now we're having kind of that same thing happen in America, right? Where people in America are trying to rewrite history. At least rewrite history as we perceive it. Dracula wasn't the good guy. He won a lot. Same with Attila and Genghis Khan. If the Nazis won World War II, they would be the ones writing the narratives. Yeah, exactly. And you know, maybe at some point, like way later in the future, we invent some kind of technology that we can kind of learn more about it and then change our minds on things, right? But in the immediate, that's kind of like what people go to, is like whatever the main narrative was. Time travel fuck. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe. Shaimon says, but they were the good guys when they were winning. It took loss and time and other people winning to change and rediscover the narrative. Yeah, exactly. And of course, like that narrative is going to be, right, Shy, that narrative is going to be shaped by whoever is in power now, right? Look at how much, you can only rewrite history if there's witnesses. I don't know, people can just make up bullshit, honestly. People can just make bullshit. The narrative is shaped by the current events. Look at how much World War II occupies our mind space of the average person. And how often it's brought up. While there are other wars, far more people died, nobody cares about. Zero sensitivity. You can hope that they're getting it right, but it's still someone else telling you essentially, trust me, bro. Yep. So history is full of bias and it's not exactly accurate. Well, I mean, a lot of history is word of mouth, right? It's not really until recent times, and I mean like really recent, that people have freaking videos of everything that's happening. But like, it's a very recent thing that everyone has a camera in their pocket and can start recording that. And soon that's going to even be muddied by AI, right? Like, we literally just got the technology for everyone to have a phone in their pocket, and that technology is already going to be outdated as a source of verifiable truth. It's never a war crime the first time, says that's actually a good one. Apex Harem King says it's never a war crime the first time. That's true. True. Since we started documenting so much more stuff, it's still reliant on people to actually record and for those records to survive. The losers or victors. Yeah, exactly. Have you seen the AI vid where Zelensky and Trump fought? I have not, Delta. I actually heard that there was some recent stuff with that Trump actually fully cut off Ukraine. Is that true? I actually just saw it. I just saw it literally, like, as I was walking to my computer. Is this true? The United States is pausing all military aid to Ukraine effective immediately. You know, guys, wait, is this real? Hold on. Is this real? Hold on. Okay. United States is pausing all military aid to Ukraine effective immediately. That's it? There's no like link or there's no video? Europeans, Ukraine should receive more support, but also Europeans not from my country. Are the current measures against Russia and aid given to Ukraine enough to prevent a Russian victory? Not enough, not enough. How should your country manage support it is giving to Ukraine? Oh, I see. Yeah, only 29%. Sweden with 29%. Doesn't Sweden like hate Russia? Like specifically? 29% here from Sweden wants to increase. This is a super minority. Yeah, this is really low. Here's a question, guys. Do I want to piss off YouTube even more? And Turbo, thank you for the bits. Thank you. Do I want to piss off YouTube even more by watching another Ukraine video? Yes. Oh yeah, Julio, bring it up. Yo, bring that shit up, Jamie. Thank you for the bits. I actually don't think it's liberals crying. I think it's a lot of people that are mad. All right, here we go. The EU spends more Russian oil and gas than financial aid to you. The EU spends more on Russian oil and gas than financial aid to Ukraine. But we need that. But we need that gas. Yoshi, thank you so much for the bits. Thank you. Thank you. But we need it, guys. We need it. But you know what? Shame on you, US, for not giving more money to Ukraine. But you know what? We have to support Russia. We have to. Oh my god, dude. The EU is spending more money on Russian fossil fuels than on financial aid to Ukraine. A report marking the 3rd anniversary of the invasion has found EU member states bought 21.9 billion euros of Russian oil and gas in the 3rd year of the war, according to the estimates from the Center of Research on Energy and Clean Air, Korea. I'm guessing there's like actual citations for this in the article somewhere. The amount is 1/6 greater than the 18.7 that the EU allocated for Ukraine in financial aid. Hold on. I mean, to be fair, that's pretty close. To be fair, that's pretty close. The amount of like just free aid that they give to Ukraine versus like this is an actual purchase. This is an actual like you know, equivalent exchange of like goods for a resource that they require, whereas this is just money for their freaking defense, right? I don't know. I'm just trying to be fair. According to a tracker from the Kiel Institute of World Economy, as much as I wanna dunk on this, I think I mean it's about equivalent, right? Vaibhav Raghunadan, an analyst at Korea and co-author of the report, said purchasing Russian fossil fuels is quite plainly akin to sending financial aid to the Kremlin and enabling its invasion. That is, I mean, that is kind of a good point, though, is that you are giving money to Russia, who is going to in turn use that against Ukraine. True. It's a practice that must stop immediately to secure not just Ukraine's future, but also Europe's energy security. I mean, that is a good point that like if you're reliant on Russia so far that you have to like keep buying oil and gas from them, despite like saying that they're super bad, right? If you're an EU member and you're like, Russia is super fucking bad, big dick assholes, fuck them, but take my money because I need that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I mean that's obviously like a vulnerability that the EU has, right? Researchers compiled trade data to estimate the value of Russian fuels that were sold around the world in the 3rd year of the invasion. They forecast data for February 2025, which is not yet available based on imports from January. In the calendar year of 2024, EU spent 39% more on Russian fossil fuel imports than is set aside for Ukraine. And again, I mean, to be fair, this is kind of different, but the point that the article is making is still true. Right, that you're giving money to Ukraine to fight the war against Russia, and you're giving Russia money. I mean, even though it is an exchange of goods, they're still gonna use this. Like whatever money they get from this is gonna be used for the war, obviously. The Korea researchers estimate that Russian fossil fuel revenues could fall 20% by beefing up existing sanctions and plugging gaps. The measures include closing a refining loophole through which Europe can buy Russian crude that has been processed in another country. This is pretty funny because this is like yo, we can show we care, but like not actually. Right? It's like let's pretend that we care, but not actually care. That's what this is. And restricting gas flows through the Turk Stream pipeline. But Julie says if this gets the EU to go nuclear, I'll take it. The report also called for a crackdown of liquefied natural gas. Europe has slashed its imports of piped Russian gas since the start of the Ukraine war, but it has stated that some of its hunger for energy with shipments of super chilled gas, including from Russia. Yeah. I mean, Russia has a lot of resources. That's what everyone's saying. Quebec says we should go nuclear. Probably. Bishop says, imagine if Putin backed a revolution in Mexico to install a leader that allowed Russia to put anti-missile defense systems on USA borders. You would do exactly what Russia did in Ukraine. Even if not overtly, there would be some kind of clandestine operations at the very minimum. Cuba, yeah. Cuba, that did kind of happen.